Good morning, everybody. But I got both of the two corners that are coming in this class. First one's name is Mason Alexander. He's from Hamilton Southeastern. He's a guy in which that is a guy that is very contagious, a high energy. All right, a guy that always stays positive. All right, so he's a guy I can't wait to kind of coach because based on his attitude, just always being high energy, happy, the whole 9 yards. Obviously, we went up to visit him before he had a game. It was a Friday morning game. I want to say it's 6:30 in the morning, 7 o'clock. And he's out there working out. They work out strenuously on Fridays as far as a team. With that being said, he's walking around and I see him talking a lot of stuff to guys, getting guys motivated, but at the same time doing it all with a grin, which I think is the first part of his, just understanding who he is as a character person, the kind person, a family person in which that he is. With that being said, once he steps on that field, another switch goes off. He's got that other guy mentality. All right, when he was a junior in high school, he ran a 10-700, which that shows his explosion. But he has a lot of good change of direction. And when he's playing on that field, that other guy comes out of him, that physical nature, which that you got to play this game with. He's able to flip that switch and be able to show who that is, show who he is in that regard. But he is a good player. All right. And then the other gentleman that we have is Shawn Lee. All right. He's from Harrisburg High, the central part of PA. He comes with a great family of athletes. All right. He's a guy in which that is from the same area as Shawn McCoy, obviously the Pitt legend that he is. I thought it was very cool for, Shawn McCoy to kind of reach out to him after he got his offer, which is a great thing, being able to be associated with a legend like Shady McCoy. And they have a lot of good family connections with his father and things of that nature as well. But, the one thing that struck out about him was he was a two-way player in high school. And he has the ability to be able to make plays, like Coach Sanders talked about previous, is that he shows the ability to be special. He shows the ability to make plays. He played both ways, and he did an outstanding job at both. His father was his DB coach as well, going through that. So I always talk to him about how tough it is to be able to coach his son, but I think they both love working with each other. He didn't start playing until his junior year as a defensive back. But the one thing about it, he's a very good workaholic. With him being a workaholic, it allows him to be at his best. It allows him to be able to listen to his dad and be able to take in that coaching, and he's been able to show it pretty well throughout his high school career. And then also I had the opportunity to watch him play a game this year over at Milford. And the one thing about it, he played both ways there again. And he made plays on offense, touchdown, and he also made plays at defense as well. So he's a special athlete. I'm very, very excited to be able to get him on up here. And those are the two guys that we got.
Did we play on multiple positions on offense?
I'm sorry?
Did we play multiple positions on offense?
He played wide receiver and quarterback. Quarterback, obviously in Harrisburg, he did a lot of dynamic runs, from that position. And then at Milford, he played, a little bit of wide receiver as well as cornerback for them. So he was the best player on the field when I went out there and watched him.
What makes him such a good fit at corner then? What skills specifically do you feel like fit at corner?
Well, he's got pretty good change of direction. All right. The one thing about both of these gentlemen, they both are physical guys mentally. So I love his attention to detail that he approaches the game with when you watch him play quarterback, and him be able to direct his, offense in high school and then bring that mentality over as far as being a leader within that also is another great quality to have. But he's a tough physical player in which that excels and pushes guys around him to be better.
Is it the Pitt's recent track record for sending DBs to the NFL? Does that help you bring in some of these guys?
Well, absolutely. Anytime you got, a history of doing good things, it always helps. And hopefully another good thing that they have about is we try to help them continue to become men as well. So you're getting well-rounded within a good football experience as well as a good building culture experience as well all around.
You guys live on islands and drive on islands a lot. What about Mason's, play and tape? Did you see that he could play that, being a four-star recruit?
Well, the one thing that you see on him is his 10-7 shows up on film. All right, you know what I mean? So with his change of direction that he has and his explosion, you know, he's able to track things down very, very quickly. So if he gets in bad shape during the play, he can get back to it and make a play. And again, I think that his aggressive mindset is what stood out to me the most. You know, being a track guy with the 10-7 and having that thing transfer over to being a football player is always most important.
As far as Shawn Lee and his experience as a quarterback, how does that help you sometimes as a secondary coach? Having a guy who he knows the processes and how quarterbacks are working through. He used to do that.
That's always something. I always like getting receivers, you know, pass receivers as well, because they have that understanding of how offenses operate. And I think watching him play, he takes some good angles, just understanding route concepts on where people are trying to get, where the quarterback's visionary read is, and it helps him be able to beat the ball there. So it's very interesting that you ask about that, because it does stand out in his game.
Spoke about Shawn. I mean, how well did he handle that transition to have to go to new high school as a senior? And obviously, took over Shawn. You know, I think he did the same thing going to the same school. So, like, how well did he transition? How important is that, you know, connection with Shawn?
Yeah, I think that probably helped out. I'm sure they talked to each other about that. But you know, one thing about him, he's well grounded from a good family. All right, you know what I mean, and he's always ready for the next step. And I think, you know, with him having a workman attitude, he says, "This is what I got to do. This is my plan. All right, and I'm gonna go execute it." The one thing about him, you know, he always stands out to me is every time I talk to him, he's always trying to learn something else. He's always trying to work on a part of his game. The kid loves football, which I think is a great attribute to have from a guy that has the ability to play both sides of the ball and plays them at a high level both ways.
Because of the way you guys play the corners, like Chris was asking about him, it's unforgiving for corners in this defense. How can you evaluate the mental toughness that a guy has to be able to play this position and not?
Well, I watch every single game. Coach Sanders always jokes with me, I watch too much, you know, and I watch every single game that they play throughout the year. You know, and I like to see how guys respond after they have problems during the game. To me, it's how you respond. Do you have a next play mentality? And I think that shows up on film, you know, because he's from a good area, and you know, both of these guys play, you know, good ball, so they got good competition. So they've been in position on where they did not play the best, and I love to be able to see them on that game footage and see how they react towards it, because if they can do it in high school, usually that'll translate to college as well.
Final questions for Archie? Anyone else? Folks, thank you very much.
All right.
Appreciate you.